Welcome back to my Out of the Park 19 playthrough with the Kansas City Royals. We have finally made it to the end of 2018, and what a long season it was. Last episode I left off at the trading deadline, so I just played out the rest of the season. Really, there wasn't anything super interesting to make a video about until now, but we ended up with a record of 56 and 106, which is pretty terrible. Worst record in the league, so we will have the number one overall pick in the draft. So there's some good news at least. At one point it looked like we were going to lose even more games. I was pretty confident we would lose over 110, which would have been really terrible, but we were still pretty bad. So take a look at the standings for the season. There were several bad teams this year, so we lost 106 games. The Marlins lost 101. The Braves lost 101, which is surprising. And then the Giants and the Orioles both had with 98 losses. And then the White Sox with 92. I mean, just a lot of bad baseball was played this year. So we were the worst of the worst. So we win the first overall sweepstakes, which is good because we had some pretty stiff competition. Around the league, the Yankees, best record in baseball, 112 wins, 50 losses, ran away with the division by 25 games. Our division, Cleveland won, no surprise there. Minnesota able to grab that wild card, and then both Detroit and Chicago in rebuilding phases, but are a little further along in that process than we are. So let's see, things to talk about. September call-ups, I brought up Michael Gigliotti, and my scout thinks he sucks, but as you can see, every step along the way, he started in Lexington in A-ball, and he played well, OPS of 184. I moved him to Wilmington. He still played well, had an OPS of 145. He just kept moving up the ladder, and even though my scout doesn't think he's anything special, I just kept moving him up. So in September, I saw that he was holding his own in Omaha, so I just said, you know what the hell, we'll bring him up and see what happens. And pretty limited sample size, only 75 plate appearances, but he continues to produce with an OPS of 824. Really good defender, not a good arm, but really good range, not going to make any errors. I think he's going to be my starting center fielder next season, so we're getting younger. Nicky Lopez, obviously I brought him up fairly early in the season. His contact has really come in nicely, gotten a lot of rating increases there, and his avoid K is really strong, so should be an on-base machine for me. Good leadoff hitter with some stealing ability, and he was a little rough at second base when I first brought him up, but adjusted that nicely, so he's a plus defender as well. So that's good to look forward to in the future. Victor Caratini, who I got by trading away Danny Duffy, he had a good season. He was our best player. 2.8 wins above replacement, OPS of 127. He hit 20 home runs, just good power, good average. He hit 302. Just very happy with this pick. Not a great defender by any means, but I can stick him at first or DH, and he can even play catcher, which is good. That's going to make Drew Butera expendable. Mike Moustakas did come back. Obviously, he got hurt for a very long time, meaning I could not trade him at the deadline, so I'm stuck with him on my roster. And let's just see, if I were to offer him an extension, yeah, I'm not doing this. So so when we get to arbitration, I could give him the $15 million qualifying offer and hopefully he doesn't take it and we could get an extra draft pick, but I'm pretty scared that he would take it, and this is just way too much money. So unfortunately, it looks like I'm just going to have to let him walk for free. because against all odds, Cheslor Cuthbert played pretty well down the stretch, so ends up with 1.9 wins above replacement, which is good because around the midway point he was right at 0 pretty much, so he had a pretty strong second half. He also hit 20 home runs, 84 RBIs, OPS of almost 800, so not a great defender by any means, but I think he's going to be my starting third baseman. He's nice and cheap. Is he the long-term answer at third base? No, but definitely more cost-effective than Moustakas. So, I mean, I really wanted to trade Moustakas during the season. He was my most valuable trade piece, but it just didn't work out with that injury, so that kind of bit us there. Gigliotti, Lopez, Caratini, and Cuthbert, really the younger guys to get excited about. Logan Warmoth, who I got from one of the 2 prospects I got from the Whit Merrifield trade, good defender. He got very limited plate appearances, only 36, but he produced, so his contact's already a 50, so he should be able to hold his own in the majors. Not going to light the world on fire or anything, but I think I'm going to keep him as sort of my 4th infielder, my utility guy. He can play shortstop as well. He'll replace Ryan Goins. And, Adalberto Mondesi, there he is. Struggled at the plate this year, only a 60 OPS, negative 1.2 wins above replacement, but his ratings did improve, so all these plate appearances are paying off, and I think I'm going to start him at shortstop. He didn't play in the field a whole lot, so his defensive ratings didn't go up a whole lot, but he is just an absolute speed demon on the base pads, always a threat to steal. Already had 19 stolen bases this season, so it probably gonna my whole infield is gonna be on veteran minimum salary, so we're getting younger and cheaper, which is good. Salvador Perez, obviously going to keep him around. He was just kind of slightly above average, nothing too special there. And then my whole outfield is probably going to get replaced. Jorge Soler had a pretty tough season. Who else did I have? And Alex Gordon, he was hurt for a long time. He's still a really good defender, but he's making too much money, so I'm going to try to shed this contract somehow in the offseason. That's really my number one goal, or one of my number one goals. The other number one goal is to get rid of Ian Kennedy's contract, because he's making too much. So a lot of our starting players next season are going to be making very little money, so if we can just shed this money, we'll have a lot of money for free agency, and if there's really nothing that pans out in free agency, we can just pour all of that money back into scouting and player development, which is really important. So getting that money freed up is incredibly important. Only real new player I want to highlight is Eric Skoglund. He came up in September and pitched pretty well, actually. A 3.75 ERA, 2-1 record, ERA plus a 128. So just a name to keep an eye on there. Pretty excited about the Rule 5 draft. I want to get rid of almost all of my bullpen and just restock it, because there should be an abundance of players available. So I'm going to go ahead and sim through the playoffs and then go through the awards and all that stuff. So I'll see you at the end of the World Series. Alright, so we're at the end of the World Series here, and had a pretty interesting playoff. So both World Series teams were wild card teams, and almost always in 2018 and even 2019 it ends up being Dodgers and Astros, but both of them lose in the LCS series to the Twins and the Brewers. The Dodgers lost to the Mets, but then the Brewers go on to beat the to beat the Mets. So a Twins-Brewers World Series. How about that? Washington loses in the wild card game, so that seems pretty realistic. The Red Sox, Twins over the Red Sox. It's not a huge surprise or anything, but Minnesota getting by the Yankees 3-1, pretty unexpected there, and then beating the Astros 4-1, 4-1. That's pretty crazy. So the Minnesota Twins bring it home for the AL Central. So that's pretty cool. But we're gonna have to contend with the defending World Series champions in our division next year. One thing I did notice while simming this out is our old friend Danny Duffy was insane this year. 2.73 ERA, a 12-5 record. Innings pitched didn't quite hit 200, but his BABIP was super low. So I think he kind of lucked into that a little bit. It was low with us too, but man, he had a crazy season. So I'm happy with the return I got for him. But maybe I jumped the gun a little bit there. I should have held on to him just a little bit longer, I think. But I don't know. I think that BABIP helped him out quite a bit. I just thought that was interesting how well he did. Let's look up Whit Merrifield, who of course we traded to the Blue Jays. How did he do? He was okay. Hit 273, OPS plus a 102. With the Blue Jays. Did they have him steal? No, looks like he stopped stealing bases once he got over there. He had 30 stolen bases with us, only 4 with the Blue Jays. But, of course, we're going to wish him luck throughout the rest of his career in Toronto. We got a couple nice prospects in return for him. So, Twins were World Series champions. I just thought that was pretty interesting. So, I'll be back with the off-season awards, just to see how that goes. I just wanted to interrupt the sim and say that I had a season score of 1, so nowhere to go but up, right? So it's pretty embarrassing. One of the worst records in franchise history. It might be the worst in Royals history, who have had a lot of bad baseball in their franchise. So I think we deserve that 1. Okay, so a couple interesting things have happened. First off, Mr. Glass, our owner, has given us our season review. Obviously, he's not too happy. Nicky Lopez, he wanted us to upgrade it shortstop, and Nicky Lopez looks to be an improvement over where Alcides Escobar was in 2017. But he wanted a top 6 ranked shortstop. So not sure what you're smoking there, Mr. Glass. Extend your player. He wants us to extend Mike Moustakas. That's not happening. That would be a terrible baseball decision, in my opinion, in the context of the game anyway. Long term, gave us a goal of making the playoffs. I think we have 4 more years to make the playoffs to hit his goal. And next season, he wants us to play 500 ball. He wants us to upgrade at second base. So Nicky Lopez. So that's should be a done deal. Sign Mike Moustakas to an extension. Again, no. Acquire a Cy Young winner. Okay. Increase team attendance. That shouldn't be too hard. We should be a little bit better. And yeah, then keep building our team up in order to reach the playoffs in the next 5 seasons. So the only good thing is that he seems to be pretty patient. His goals are completely unreasonable, but he's pretty patient, so we shouldn't get axed too quickly. So the other interesting things, so the secondary roster size is now 40 or 38, so they trimmed that down from 40, and then the disabled list length is now 8 days instead of 10 days. I've never seen this one before. Usually it goes to, I've seen it go to 14 days, but I've never actually seen it decrease. So that's interesting. And then I had a bunch of personnel leave, so I'm gonna have to sign a bunch of minor league staff. So that's gonna be a pain. But let's go ahead and do our salary arbitration decisions. So Nathan Carnes, he wants, we're gonna have to pay him 1.6 million. That's too much, so we're gonna withdraw that. We are just trimming money. Justin Grimm, we're gonna withdraw that. Like I said, we can get relief pitchers in the Rule 5 draft, and if we're gonna pay for relief pitchers, we might as well get some better ones in free agencies. Relief pitchers are not hard to come by now. Jesse Hahn, he's not any good, but we're gonna offer him $700,000. Hopefully he takes it. That's not really that much above league minimum, so we'll see. Brandon Maurer wants 3.4. There's no way that's happening. Ryan Goins, that's really not a bad offer for him. I just don't have a spot for him on the team anymore. Chesler Cuthbert, yes, I want to keep him around. 2.2 million. Oh, that sucks. I thought he'd be on the minimum. Oh well. And then Almonte, I gotta replace him. And Paulo Orlando, I want to replace him as well. So trimmed up quite a bit of salary right here. Pending free agents: Blaine Boyer, Butera, Escobar is a free agent, so that's gonna get rid of some salary. And Moustakas, I can't do it because he might accept it, and then we would be spending $15 million on a guy who the only thing he's gonna accomplish is keeping Cuthbert out of the lineup, who needs at-bats. So it really hurts to let Moustakas go for nothing, but I just don't see a way around it. Pending free agents without compensation: Clay Buchholz, he's old. He was in Omaha most of the year, came up, actually played okay, but I'm just not going to do anything with him. And then we're going to go ahead and try to offer anyone who has more than a 1-star rating, try to give them a minor league extension, just to sort of keep some talent. Now, a lot of these guys, especially the older guys that are in Omaha, probably not going to accept our offer, but that's okay. Terrence Gore, he's gone. Of course, the super speedy, fast pinch runner that helped us in the postseason in both 2014 and 2015, but he's going to be gone. Almost to the bottom of the list here. And that'll do it. So that'll do it for my arbitration decisions. Have a lot of players to replace, but the Rule 5 draft is coming up, and I'm actually very excited for it. That's really going to be an important tool for us in turning this around. So I'm going to go ahead and sim to the Great Glove Award, and then we'll just sort of see who gets all these awards. Just sort of helps us check on the league and how it's doing as a whole. So I will be back on November 8th. Alright, so here we are with the Gold Glove Awards. So we actually got one. Alex Gordon, despite being hurt quite a bit of the year, wins yet another Gold Glove for him. So probably, if I had to guess, the only award we're going to get all year. But here's the complete list of award winners. No real surprises, I don't think. And here we go from the National League. Oh, our old friend Zach Greinke. How about that? Let's see. Yeah, nothing too shocking there. How about Reliever of the Year? We'll just take a look at all these awards and just sort of keep up with who is doing good in the league. Oh, people don't wanting to sign their contract extensions, their minor league extensions. Let's go back to news. Aroldis Chapman, definitely no surprise there. Alex Claudio, Ken Giles, and Andrew Miller also were considered, and in the NL was AJ Ramos. So wow, he had a pretty good season. Platinum Stick Awards, definitely not going to get any of these because our offense was awful. Wow, Salvador Perez with the Silver Slugger Award for catcher. So it must have been a pretty down year for catcher, although I mean, that's not a terrible slash line. I mean, maybe you'd like more home runs, but I guess he was okay. Encarnacion, Altuve, Matt Chapman, Carlos Carrera, Derek Fisher, Mike Trout. No surprise there. Let's just see how insane Mike Trout was. Just 9.9 wins above replacement. No big deal. Hit 315. OPS of 1.106, 53 home runs, 119 RBIs. Almost 30 stolen bases. So close. But yeah, he was slightly ridiculous. And then Giancarlo Stanton at right fielder. So he wasn't DHing. That's interesting. And JD Martinez. Let's see, for the NL, Arrieta, for pitcher, Wilson Contreras, Freddie Freeman, Scooter Gennett, Chris Bryant, Corey Seager. Let's see, he's the other contender for just insane seasons. 7.4 wins above replacement, so not quite Mike Trout, but still was very good. Only 27 home runs. That's a little surprising. He usually hits more than that, but of course he's still pretty young. And then Conforto, Blackman, and Bryce Harper. Let's just check out Bryce Harper. 6.4 wins above replacement, 320 average. That's pretty solid. 32 home runs. So Bryce Harper playing pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see who gets NL MVP between Seager and Harper. I don't know, some of these guys, Freddie Freeman had a good year too. I'm curious to see who gets MVP in the NL, because obviously AL it's going to be Mike Trout. Rookie of the Year award, I'm going to guess I've not looked at Ohtani's stats at all, but it's probably going to be him. No, Victor Caratini gets it, so we're the worst team in baseball, but we're still getting some awards. Let's look at Ohtani. How did he do? So, as a pitcher, 110 ERA plus. He pitched 181.1 innings, 4.32 ERA, went 10 and 11, 189 strikeouts. His K per 9 was 9.4, so that's pretty good. As a hitter, did not do very good, unfortunately. Still has room to grow into these bars here. Only 40 contact currently. That's probably what hurt him. But it'll be fun to keep an eye on Ohtani, how he does the rest of his career. Obviously, the emphasis on two-way players in Out of the Park 19 is pretty much because of him. And then J.P. Crawford wins the honor in the NL. Manager of the Year, we definitely did not get this one. Let's see, AJ Hinch from the Astros, and the Mets, Mickey Callaway. Alright, here we go, Cy Young. Who's it gonna be? It is Luis Severino from the Yankees. Chris Sale, I thought it would be Chris Sale, but Severino had a good year. 2.8 ERA. I mean, it's pretty good, but 19 wins, 7 losses. How did Chris Sale do? 3.38 ERA. David Price still pitching well into his 30s, and NL Clayton Kershaw. My God, Danny Duffy came in 4th. Good for you, Danny. But these top 3, Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer, Noah Syndergaard, just crazy. They're so good. Kershaw 2.59 ERA, 19-5 record. Scherzer went 17-3 with a 2.9 ERA, and Syndergaard 3.12 ERA, went 15-6. So really stiff competition there in the NL. And Duffy, we sort of covered him earlier, 12-5 with a 2.73 ERA with the Cubs. So MVP award time. So let's give Mike Trout the Mike Trout Award, and we will see who gets it in the NL. Oh, Mike Trout, what a surprise. And I guess I should look at the voting. Giancarlo Stanton, Altuve. What? No Royals? What an outrage. And Freddie Freeman gets it. Wow, I thought it would be Harper or Seager, and they weren't even close. So Cody Bellinger gets second. And obviously the Dodgers are going to be good for a while with Bellinger and Seager. Pretty good foundation there. And so that does it for the awards. I'm going to go ahead and play it out until free agency and the salary arbitration hearings. Just see how much free cash we have available. Hope maybe there'll be a good international free agent that we can go after. So should be some interesting things coming ahead. Okay, so we're at the start of free agency. I'm just trying to free up money, and I think I can get rid of Ian Kennedy and ship him off to the Mets. I'm gonna have to retain 50% of his salary, which sucks, but if I can do this, that would give us $54 million, which will go a long way. Just trading for some no-name prospect who's 17, so maybe he turns into something, but there is a 99% chance that he won't. But I've given up some big names to do this. So Khalil Lee is first. I just don't trust this contact to come in, or the avoid Ks. I like everything else about him, but I just don't think he's gonna pan out. And Sully Matias, I don't want guys striking out this much, even if he does hit a bunch of home runs. But the power, like, he has 45 home run power, but it hasn't shown. He played in the minors the entire year, got plenty of plate appearances, and only 7 home runs the whole time. And if home runs is supposed to be his bread and butter, he should be doing better than that. Of course, he's still young, but I'm gonna get rid of him. And then Walker Scheller, I actually do like him. He did get called up last year, 15.95 ERA. Obviously, that's not good, but relievers are pretty easy to come by, so I'm going to go ahead and part with Walker Scheller. And even all of this is still not an instant accept. He has to think about it. That's just how bad Ian Kennedy is. So we're going to submit it, and we're going to hope we hear back from him. So let's go ahead and look at the salary arbitration. So Cuthbert is going to get $2.2 million, which is not a lot, and then Jesse Hahn, $817,000. So just a little bit above league minimum. So even though he's not great, he's just an arm that's really cheap that if we have to put out there, it's not the end of the world. International free agents. Oh, that's not international though. The international free agents that hit the market, really nothing to get too excited about. There's this guy who's 2.5 stars, but the bars don't really support that. Stamina's a 50. What would he want? Ooh. Oh, you know what? That's pretty darn cheap. We're gonna go for it. Yeah, just $1 million. His stuff's not very high, but okay movement, good control. He has 4 pitches. And if I can just leave him in the minors and not have to pay him that money, but we'll see what happens. I don't think that's a bad contract. Now this guy looks really good, except he's 33, so no thanks, and he wants $20 million a year for 7 years. So this will take him until he's 40. So whichever team signs him, if they give him this money, that's a pretty big commitment. He does look pretty good. If we were competitive, this is something we would do maybe, but we are so far from competitive, and signing a 33-year-old is just not what we need. So this is a pretty good free agent class. So let's go ahead and look at the free agents. So a pretty quick way to do this. We know we need pitchers, so let's just take a look. Let's look at starters. So here's their demand. So if you kind of sort by their current or potential either way and just kind of go down, you can sort of quickly see the value, you know, the guys that might be a value. So Nathan Eovaldi only wants $12 million. So like if you look here, Charlie Morton sticks out like a sore thumb, because all these guys sort of in this tier are only asking for, or no, Cole Hamels and, no, what am I saying? Charlie Morton looks like a good value. I mean, but he's fragile, so that's not good. Lance Lynn is not asking for much money at all. He's old. He has a lot of pitches. He pitched okay when he was playing. He is injured. Let's see if we can find out what that's about. Let's see, why, what is going on with you? It doesn't say. That's a bummer. Scouting. Oh, I would like, would show up in his history. Yeah, here we go. He was injured really late in the season and is going to miss a year, so definitely don't want to sign him. So always good to investigate these sort of things. Oh, let's see. Chase DeJong. He's going to be really cheap. He has a ton of pitches. None of them are great. His curveball's okay. The movement as an extreme fly ball hitter, no thank you. Scott Diamond for $2.8 million. God, his stuff is so low. Just, he did pitch okay. Yeah, there's just nothing here. Scott Kazmir. You know what? He's old. What does he want? 3 years. It's just really difficult to find people. This guy wants 10 million. Don't think you're quite worth that. And let's take a look at Raul Alcantara because he wants a minor league deal. I mean, I don't mind putting him in my minor league system, so let's just go ahead and do that. There's no risk there. Alright, where was I? Got some cheap guys down here. Just gonna kind of go through their bars. Okay, this guy's interesting. Okay stuff. God, the movement. Extreme fly ball hitter. He's gonna give up a ton of home runs. But that changeup and that fastball, 5 pitches. Yeah, 1.2 million. I already gave someone similar a contract like this. Man, if it wasn't for that movement, I would jump all over that. This guy's cheap. Just sort of just another guy. Tyler Pike. Yeah, I can see it. What would you want? You know, these guys that are assigning these minor league contracts, they become guaranteed if I promote them. You know, if I don't promote them, then it's really no risk. So, not really throwing a whole lot of money. I'm just going to kind of throw a lot of these guys at the wall and see what sticks. This guy's 23. He could be something. Did not pitch well in AAA. I'm sorting by potential. So this is another quick thing to do. Sort by potential and look for guys that don't have a demand, because that just means they want to sign a minor league deal. So this guy, no risk, could become a 2-star pitcher. In the past, I've actually gotten like a 5-star catcher on a minor league deal in free agency. So that's just a quick check to always do. Let's look at relievers here. Oh, here we go. See? This guy is going to be a really good reliever, and he wants a minor league deal. So 100% going to do that. Let's restock our bullpen a little bit here. He's 20, so I'm pretty happy with that. Justin Wilson is too expensive. Kelvin Herrera, our good friend. He's still young. He's still okay. And he's a lot cheaper now. You know, Kelvin Herrera for 1.3 million is definitely okay. I will take that. So let's look at closers, see if we can get a good value. Let's check out this guy. I mean, for a minor league deal, Why not? He doesn't even want to guaranteed money if he gets promoted. Anybody more proven? Castro. Really good stuff. 2 really good pitches. I think I'm good on pitchers for now. Yeah, let's start going through position players here. All batters. We're just gonna quickly scroll down and see if anyone wants a minor league deal that's any good. Craig Aiken. Nothing interesting there. Braden Bishop, who is hurt. Not really interested in you either. Just trying to moneyball the crap out of this situation right now. Okay, so nobody there, unfortunately. I really need outfielder help. If I can get somebody fairly young. Oh, all outfielders. Bryce Harper wants a pretty big contract. I can actually afford this, which is funny. Oh boy. You know what? I might wait and just see if he goes unsigned for a little while. You know, we're just gonna periodically check in. Because I can afford Bryce Harper, and that would be tempting. It would be a ton of money, but it would put butts in the seats, and it would help us win. Melky Cabrera, well, he's old. Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz is interesting, although he's old. He's 38. Yeah. Carlos Gonzalez, he's getting up there. Well, let's see. He's cheap, and he wants a 1-year deal. Let's go back, look at Cargo. Good gap power still, home runs. How'd he do last season? Not great. Curtis Granderson. He's even older. Andrew McCutchen. How'd he do last year? He was okay. Oh, what's his injury though? We'll miss 3 months. He'll be ready for the start of the season. What does Andrew McCutchen want? No, I'm not doing a deal that long. Absolutely not. Brett Gardner. Yeah, all these guys are too expensive. I'm going to go ahead and offer Carlos Gomez here. Or no, not Carlos Gomez, Carlos Gonzalez. There we go. That's what I wanted. Just 1 year, 1.4 million. Not a whole lot of risk there. If he does okay, I could trade him. You know, just get a lower level prospect in return. So, you know, that's just sort of my methodology so far for that. So I'm going to go ahead and sim ahead, poke around the free agencies, just keep an eye on Bryce Harper, and I'll probably show you my Hall of Fame ballot So yeah, I'll be back for the Hall of Fame ballot. Okay, so my trade, getting rid of Ian Kennedy to the Mets did not work out, but looks like I'm gonna get the Nationals to accept it. So I'm trading for just a no-name, 18-year-old catcher who has good gap power actually. So who knows? Maybe he becomes something. But most importantly, I'm getting rid of $8.3 million of Ian Kennedy's contract. I'm going to give up Khalil Lee, Tyler Fisher, and Brian Flynn. I like this deal better than the Mets anyway because I get to hold on to Sully Matias, who I have more faith in developing than Khalil Lee. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So that so that's nice. Help free up some money, and maybe we can get Bryce Harper. I still got my eye on him. Alright, so Hall of Fame voting. Here's my ballot. I got Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Roy Halladay, Todd Helton, Jeff Kent, Mike Mussina, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, Curt Schilling, and Billy Wagner. Yeah, I hope I'm not too controversial. Obviously, Bonds and Clemens with the steroid allegations. I don't care. Barry Bonds was ridiculous in an era where many players were using these. I think that was just part of that era of baseball, and that these guys that were spectacular, they were still a class of their own, even with all that other stuff going on, and I think they should be in. So that's my opinion. Todd Helton, I grew up in Colorado, so watched a lot of Rockies. He's a Hall of Famer in my eyes. Oh, Curt Schilling, the bloody sock. Billy Wagner, one of the best closers of all time. Obviously, lived in Mariano Rivera's shadow. And then Jeff Kent, who had a really good offensive career, and Mike Mussina. I just talked about the steroid era. He pitched in the midst of that in the AL East, one of the toughest divisions in baseball. So I think he should be in. So yeah, that's my ballot. I'm going to submit it. Still keeping my eye on Bryce Harper here. So if I go to the free agents... Oh boy, so his demand is dropping. So is Manny Machado's. I don't really need an infielder, but obviously Machado is way better than anything I have, and he's still young. So I just am curious. So I could do this, and even if I could do this and trade him at any point. So it's not like I'm stuck with this unless he completely falls off a cliff. So that it's tempting. I'm not gonna lie. But more looking at Bryce Harper, who this is where we're at with him. If I just want to wait and see if this can drop a couple more $1 million, and even after spending this. I'd still have $21 million left over, so purging all that salary, that's why I did it. So yeah, we're just gonna let it roll a little bit longer, see if he gets a little bit more desperate, because I would really like Bryce Harper to be a Kansas City Royal. So it is time for the Rule 5 draft. I've been looking forward to this for a while. The rule change that came through where the secondary roster is now 38, that's going to help us because you can't put as many players on your roster anymore, which means there should be some better players available for us to steal. But first off, we want to make sure we protect anyone who we don't want to be taken. So we're looking for anyone with the hashtag symbol next to their name, so let's get him over there. Heath Philmeyer, sure. Got plenty of room. Anyone? Samir Duenas. And I don't think anybody will take him. I won't be too upset if they do. So yeah, there we go. Foster Griffin. Yeah, I'll go ahead and protect him. But I only have 31 players, which means I can draft up to 7. Nick Deeney. I don't want to protect him. I'm just making sure I don't lose anyone. Ryan O'Hearn. No. I mean, someone can take him if they really want him, but there should be better options available. So, yeah, let's get into it. Let's see. We have the number 1 pick. Let's just see what our head scout recommends. Winston Sawyer. He's a catcher, and he's kind of okay. I can get relievers later. So let's look at batting potential. And I was hoping for some outfielders, and it looks like there aren't any, so that sucks. Well, got some second baseman here. This guy looks like he can be pretty good. But he's a second baseman, which I am already okay at. Oh, yeah, a lot of infielders. Man, that really sucks. Let's just look at all the outfielders here. Here we go. Here we go. Rangel, Ravelo. This guy looks like he can be solid. I'll go ahead and drag him down here. Okay. There, I see some guys. We're just gonna make sure there's no starting pitchers. Whoops. Yeah, not really seeing anybody too intriguing. Let's see here. No, I don't really see any starters, so I'm going to go ahead and get a Rangel Ravelo for left fielder. Alex Gordon actually had a no trade clause, so I can't get rid of him, but this guy can be my 4th outfielder. He can play left and right. So just going to go ahead and draft him. We're going to auto draft until my pick. Oh, who did I lose? I lost Ramon Torres. Yeah, good riddance. Yeah, I mean he's okay, but I'm really not too upset about that. So let's go back and resume our Rule 5 draft. Who does our head scout recommend? Danny Jansen, a catcher. Well, he looks pretty good. The avoid Ks and eye discipline. We let Drew Butera walk, so we do need a backup catcher. Yeah. I do like that. How many catchers are there that are any good? Brett Sullivan can play catcher. I like Danny Jansen better. Let's go back and look at outfielders. No power guys that have decent enough contact. Let's see, David Thompson, he's 25. He hit pretty well last season in the minors. Yeah, I mean, he's solid. Not a really good defender by any means. But I already got an outfielder. I'm going to go ahead and get Danny Jansen. Going to advance again. Now let's look at pitchers. So we're going to be looking for relievers. And here we go, Cody Carroll. He looks great. He's got the stuff. He has 3 really good pitches. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. This guy looks interesting too. His individual pitches aren't as good. He's 36. Well, that's strange. I've never seen a... Cody Carroll is 26. That's much closer to what we're looking for. Let's just see what our scouting director thinks. The first baseman, Rob Segedin, who is 30 years old, but does look like he's really versatile. He can hit. You know, we're going to take Cody Carroll. I don't think I've ever picked this many players in a Rule 5 draft. This is pretty crazy. I'm probably the only one still picking. And yeah, this guy's just so versatile. We're going to draft him. See what happens. And really no risk taking any of these guys, because if we remove them from the active roster, then they just go back to the team they came from. You know, we don't really lose anything. So yeah, that's the Rule 5 draft. Gonna probably join again the Hall of Fame voting results, or if there's any big news that happens before then. Alright, so we made a pretty big splash. We got Arturo Soto, the 33-year-old outfielder from Cuba, who has some pretty good bars. Obviously, he's never played in the MLB before, so this is a little bit of a risk, but 3 years, $16 million each. In the third year, the player can opt out. We're just going to see how this goes. My initial vision for this is to play him and have him tear it up, hopefully, fingers crossed, and then trade him around the deadline. Should be able to get a good prospect in return, I would think. So you may be asking, if I'm rebuilding, why am I signing a 33-year-old for $16 million? Because I think I can trade him for something decent if he plays well. So, bit of a risk. I also have a offer out to Bryce Harper for like $25 million a year for 6 years, and that would be the same sort of thing. I don't know if I would want to keep Harper that whole contract, but if he has like another crazy type season like he did in 2015, I would try to flip him. I don't think he's going to sign this, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened. And I got Kelvin Herrera for just over $1 million a year, and I got Carlos Gonzalez for $1.4 million for 1 year. So pretty interesting to have Herrera back, and hopefully Gonzalez can be a little bit better than what we were putting in our outfield last year. But we did make one big signing with Soto, and still in the Harper sweepstakes. Alright, and here's the Hall of Fame voting results. Mariano Rivera, the only person inducted this year, 95% of the vote. Roy Halladay and Todd Helton both got pretty close. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, in their 7th year of eligibility, they're climbing up the percentage there. I think they'll get in. Larry Walker, his 9th year, he's not gonna make it. Mike Mussina, he has a chance. Kurt Schilling, surprised Kurt Schilling's not higher. But yep, Mariano Rivera, welcome to the Hall of Fame. And there you have it. Bryce Harper is going to the Red Sox. Just couldn't quite get him. Let's see what he signed for. Oh, that's baloney. I actually gave him more money than this, although towards the end it got a little higher. But $19 million, that's very cheap. So pretty upset I didn't get him, considering I offered $25 million for 6 years. But what can you do? Boston, a little bit of a bigger market than Kansas City, and he probably wants to play for a more competitive team. But still would have been nice to have him. Alright, well, I didn't get Bryce Harper, but I got Manny Machado. So I do lose a first round draft pick. So this does not apply to first round picks when your team drafts in the upper third of the order. Thank goodness, because we pick first, in which case you lose your next highest pick. So it sounds like we're going to lose our second round pick. So we're still going to have the number 1 overall pick, and we have Manny Machado. The overall fan interest increase is amazing, so that should help with our attendance. So I gave him $17 mil per year, which is pretty cheap. Very cheap, actually. So he's a Royal. I can't believe it. So he's going to be my third baseman or my shortstop. I don't know. I could keep Cuthbert at third and then put Machado at shortstop. So Alberto Mondesi doesn't have a home anymore. We'll have to see, but I'm happy I have Machado on the team. This contract really isn't that bad, so I might even keep him throughout the duration of this, or I will shop him around, obviously, throughout the years, and see if I can get some really good prospects in return. But we signed a star player. We got a star player to come to Kansas City. Alright, so it's February 1st, 2019. That's going to do it for this episode. I know it's been a really long one. A lot of stuff to pack in. Got several good picks in the Rule 5 draft, and obviously the signing of Manny Machado. So I'll probably put out another video with covering how everyone does in spring training and play opening day. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time.